I'm going to make you a host. You can make me a co-host.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
James.
You're welcome. And as soon as the first learner join the class, I will be starting the recording. Okay?
Okay, that's great. Yep.
Oops.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Wilhelmina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good
to have
morning,
you.
Deb.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see so many smiling faces. There's Nelda with her ball cap on. Nelda, I should have my Get Set Up hat on.
Yeah. This is my Spurs, San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, nice. Team spirit. Way to go. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Everybody's into curry today. This should be fun.
Deb, I thought I wanted to watch it because I'm primarily plant-based, and I thought I'll just do tofu.
Absolutely. Or vegetables of some sort.
Right.
You know, and what, well, it'll be fun today because I am learning curry myself. So we'll learn together. And I hope that I have some good information for you today that I have learned. I'll pass it on. And yes, curry is really flexible and can just be totally vegetarian. It's really not about the meat.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Diana.
Hi. Sorry, I haven't got a picture. I haven't quite figured out how to bring that forward, but here.
You know what? We have James with us today. He might be able to help you in the chat. I want to introduce you all to James. He's our teaching assistant, our technical support person. So he will be here to help with any kind of issues that you have with your camera and your microphone. Okay, so you can always chat him up. In the bottom is the chat box. You can click on that and write a message. Now, what I'm going to do is ask James to mute everybody right now. And the reason I'm asking for that is because the class size is rather large. And if there's any background noise when somebody has an open mic, then it does make noise for everybody to hear. So we'll just keep you muted for right now. And because we have a fairly large class, one of the things you might do is take advantage of the chat box if you have questions. I try to stop now and then, and you can unmute yourself as well, but sometimes there just gets to be a lot of traffic. So go ahead and feel comfortable using that chat box, and we'll see if we can get everybody's questions answered. And you know, if you've been to my classes before, you know that I really like interaction. So we'll do as much of that as we can. And can you just give me a hi sign down there in the right corner of your screen? Perhaps you'll see a place to sit for a reaction. Just raise your hand if you're new to my class. If you're new to my classes and have never been here before. Okay, Alan, it's good to have you. And I see Wilhelmina, you're new.
Yes.
And Jay, is that Jay Bryce?
Yes.
Really? Okay, lots of new folks. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. And I think that you will find that this is a fun group. There are lots of you here who are my regulars, and I'm always happy to see you all. And I think that you'll feel part of this if you haven't been to one of these classes before, part of the community in no time. Is there anybody brand new to Get Set Up today? Okay, I don't see any hands going up, so you're old hats at this. Great. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started because we are going to talk about curry today. And welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to share my screen now and just go through a few beginning items so that anyone who is new knows where I'm coming from. And so you should be able to see my screen now that says chicken curry for beginners. Do you see that? All right. Great.
Yes.
Excellent. My name is Deb Livingston, and I will be your guide for today. My hometown is York, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised here on the East Coast, although I do a bit of traveling, so that's been nice to get away and come back to home. My background is in business, so I have a lot of organizational development, training, leadership coaching in my past. So I brought those training skills into this Get Set Up platform where I get to really indulge some of my hobbies like organic gardening and cooking. I really enjoy cooking with whole foods and cook quite a lot around here. And you might know, just as a side note, with all of these kitchen classes that I've been doing and cooking, my husband is most appreciative. So he thanks you for coming to class today. Okay. You've heard this no doubt before, but when we are in class together, it is really great if you can be on camera and if you can participate in the class. Our platform is a little different from others that you might go to where you're one of 100 people sitting and listening to an instructor. We like to have some interaction. We think that's important in this world, and especially with where we as seniors are in our lives. So ideally, you're participating like that. Having said that, I understand if you can't always be on camera or don't want to speak on the microphone, but I do invite you to do so. And I want to say hi to everyone who's out there who may be watching this on live stream. This is a great platform, and if you would care to join us, the best way is to register and participate in a class like all of these folks are today. That way you can join in the conversation. We'd love to have you. We show a lot of different products and services and websites and things as we go through classes because we think you'll enjoy those. And I just want you to know that we don't have any financial relationships with any of those entities that we do show you. So that's just a little disclaimer on our part. So let's talk about the objectives and the agenda for today. I thought that it might work to really start with just talking about what in the world is curry, because I think that can be very confusing. It's certainly confusing to me. And then what are the origins of curry? And what about curry powder, which seems to get used interchangeably, the term curry and curry powder. So then we'll kind of, we'll move into looking at a video. I want you to see a real live Indian chef making a curry. And then I am going to show you what happened when I made the curry, or I'm going to show you me making what he's made. So I have a lot of that prepared ahead of time, but I wanted you to see it in my kitchen. So we'll do that. And I would just like you to, in the chat, let me know what it is that the one thing that you were hoping to learn today. Is there something particular about curry that would be that you're wanting to find out about today? I know you came to make chicken curry, but is there something about it that's important that you're not sure about?
What is its nutritional values?
Oh, the nutritional values. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Is it very spicy?
Great question. Okay, and I see that some other folks are saying the same thing. What are the variations? Is all curry hot? I love curry, but my husband doesn't like it when it's hot. How can I adjust the heat of a curry? That's a really good question. So the good thing about making curry at home is that you can do that. Sometimes when you go out to a restaurant, it may be a little more difficult to order and communicate that you want something that isn't hot at all if you don't like hot spicy. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and maybe some of you in the audience also will have some suggestions. Is there anyone here that's native Indian? Indian from India? I wouldn't think that they would, that anybody from India would show up for a basic curry class. They could be teaching it, but you never know. And if there is someone who has experience with that, I would love to hear. So we'll talk a little bit about the heat as we go on. And Barbara, glad to have you. No problem. All right. So who has experimented with curry, either Indian or the other most popular one that we are familiar with in this country is Thai? Yeah, Diana, you have, and Lily. All right. So there's been some of you who have done that. And is it mostly at a restaurant or have you cooked it?
I've cooked it.
You've cooked it.
Nothing fancy, but I just put it in with butter and I make a nice curried rice dish.
Yum. That sounds delicious. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
And once we know what it's all about, it just demystifies things a lot. I'm just checking real quickly here to the chat before I go on. Okay, what can a curry go best with besides rice? That's a good question. And so Karen says, I tried it many years ago and I didn't like it. I want to learn more. Karen, can you put in the chat what it was that you didn't like? Was it because because it was too spicy, too hot, or was it something else? Okay. And then Jay Bryce says, other than chicken, turkey, oxtails, what else is curry good on? Well, I think the short answer to that is, what isn't it good on? You can eat it on almost anything. So let's go get started and see if we answer some of those questions along the way. If you're like me, you might find curry a bit of a mystery. I go to an Indian restaurant and I'm not quite sure what I want to order. And I'm never quite sure if I'm going to get something that I can't eat because it's too hot. I certainly had an experience at a Thai restaurant, my very first experience. They asked me how I wanted it, how hot I wanted it, spicy on a scale of 1 to 10. And I thought I was being safe. And I said, well, maybe like a 2 or 3. And I ate the first bite and it was so delicious. And then I couldn't taste the rest of it because it was still really too hot for me. So our palates are all really different, and it is really part of the communication there to get it to the point where we can order what we want and feel like we're getting that we can eat it and enjoy it because it's not too spicy, because our palates may not be accustomed to that. But over time, then we do get to a point where we can tolerate a little more heat. Pat, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
No, I was just answering who has made curry, and I've been cooking curry since, that was one of my dad's favorites. So I've been cooking it since I was 10.
Oh, wow. So you can give us some help with that then, because
But with a Chinese influence to it.
Okay. Chinese. Yep. Well, and that is an interesting segue into what is curry too, because it is a little bit of a mystery, but the word curry itself, the C-U-R-R-Y, is actually a British term. The Indian term is curry, or it means simply sauce or gravy. So a curry is a very generic term meaning sauce or gravy. And there are just thousands of different variations. Every family's curry tastes a little bit different. So even within a particular type of curry, like a tikka masala, or chicken biryani, different families' recipes will taste differently. So that's the good news. You can adjust these and make them to whatever is your taste. And they discovered in doing the history on this a little bit that this idea of using spices to flavor sauces through frying in oil is dated back to 2500 BC. There were a lot of spices that were used at that time, and the term tarka actually means to pan fry spices in oil. And we can have mild or we can have spicy curry. The curry spice, or the heat, I should say, comes from chili. chili peppers. So when you make those at home, when you make the chili at home or the curry at home, you must simply refrain from using chili if you don't want it to be hot. And when you purchase curry powders, you will want to order or purchase a mild chili powder. So you can control the heat of your curry in that way. And ironically, the real heat in curry came from the Spanish and Portuguese explorers who brought chilies into India. Before that, the curry was spiced primarily with black pepper. And when this chili was introduced, it then became quite the ingredient in so many curries today. So curry can be made in so many different ways. It's become really accessible to vegetarians now because it's evolved and there are many more vegetarian curry dishes out there. But it can be made with vegetables, it can be made with meat, it can be made with tofu. So it's a sauce. Remember, it's a sauce, it's a gravy. And if you can make a sauce or a gravy that is very tasty to you, then you can put it on anything. You can serve it in addition to serving it on rice. You could serve it over quinoa if you wanted to. There's no hard and fast rules. You can serve it with naan, that bread, naan bread, or any kind of a flat bread that you might enjoy, or any kind of a bread you might enjoy, just something that might, just similar to what we're used to. Remember growing up, did you ever eat gravy bread when you were a kid? Turkey gravy over bread. We had that a lot. Or hot turkey sandwiches. You can think of it in the same way. You could ladle over curry sauce or gravy over bread if you like, but it's traditionally served over basmati rice and or with the naan. And it was spread. So it started as an Indian dish, curry, and it then spread across Asia and across Europe by Indian monks who were traveling the Silk Road, and later then by the British, of course, who were occupying all of these regions. And they became very enamored of curry dishes. And when they went home, they wanted to take those dishes and the way to prepare them with them. So types of curry. Sometimes we are a little mystified as to which are the hottest curries. And it might seem counterintuitive, but the green curry tends to be actually the hottest. And the red curry is more of a medium heat, where yellow is the least peppery, least hot. How am I doing so far, Pat? Am I on the right track? Anything that you would say differently from your knowledge?
I would probably add in madras because that's a type of curry too that has a lot of pepper and I can't remember what the other ingredients is. And I've been having trouble getting madras, so I'm having to take like curry powder and modify it.
Yes. So looking it up online, and that's a good point. You can actually blend your own curry powders. We'll talk in a minute about curry. I'm not getting into the recipes for that or anything, but if you know what the elements are, you can look up and do your own recipes. And then of course, cut back on the ingredients that you don't like and make your own variation, which is why we have so many variations in India that families just do it to suit their taste. Massaman curry is sort of a blend between a Thai chili or a Thai curry. I don't know why I keep saying chili, but the red curry paste is made with red chilies. And so the paste versus the dry whole spices that are roasted or fried in the oil in the frying pan. So those are blended together, plus they use roasted peanuts. And then Penang curry. Yes, go ahead, Alan. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, the Penang curry, which includes coconut milk. Coconut milk has a lot of fat. I can't have coconut milk. What would be a substitute for coconut milk?
So you could use, first of all, there is the lower fat coconut milk, so you can check that out. But you could also use just cream if you wanted to. But you would lose a little bit of that nice, one of the signature flavors of that kind of curry is, of course, the coconut. So you might just check out the maybe check out the lower fat coconut milk. And yeah, let me see. I have the regular here. I don't think I have a can of the light right now. Yeah, it has 13 grams of saturated fat in a third of a cup. So
It's a lot.
it depends. Yeah, and you could also blend that with a little bit of the coconut milk. Like say you want to do the low fat coconut milk and blend it half and half with that and a little bit of cream. So you get a little bit of a little balance in there would be my suggestion. Anybody else have any suggestions for that? Okay. But aren't these spices beautiful? And they certainly do really, they smell so good when we're making a curry. These are some examples of dishes, curry dishes that you might find around the world. And they're just examples, but if you've gone to an Indian restaurant or a Thai restaurant or any of these Japanese restaurants, you might see any one of these things on the menu. And they're all considered curries, even if they don't have like the tikka masala, the word curry in the name. So curry is not one dish. Even in the, so Jamaica and the Bahamas, I can never say that, in the Bahamas, they have a West Indies style curry as well. Anybody have any familiarity with that?
Yes.
Yes.
They
Well,
use tomatoes.
they use tomatoes. Okay. We're using tomatoes too today. So then we talk, that's curry, the big umbrella of curry. Now let's talk about curry powder. And it really is literally a potpourri of spices. It's generally a combination of turmeric, ground coriander, cumin, ginger, and black pepper in varying proportions depending upon how much spice we're getting and or wanting to get. So I have a curry powder that is a mild and I have one that is a medium heat. And so that's a variation of those ratios of those spices. And it really was a British invention. So you don't really see, I think I would be right in saying that most people who are native to India would look a little bit askance or say, well, we don't really have curry powder. You know, we take our spices and we mix them up and we make our gravy. But this was convenient. This was a supermarket blend, so to speak, that allowed the British to bring their favorite dishes back home. And interestingly, I found this interesting for me because I like to make a chicken salad with curry powder, the mild curry powder. I love curry chicken salad. And here, it's not really intended to ever be used raw. So what we have in our curry powder is raw spice. And it can tend to have harsh overtones depending, like turmeric in particular, I think has a very harsh bite to it when it's raw. And so the frying in oil is what mellows this raw spice out a little bit. So how many of you have a curry powder on your spice shelf? Yeah, quite a few of you. Yeah. Oh, there's I see Jeannie, you have a Penzeys spice, don't you?
Yeah, actually, I have a couple. They have a couple different variations.
What are those variations?
Well, I have a sweet curry and then just a regular curry. And I know they have others as well, but those are the two I stick to.
There's so many different blends, and James just put a note into the chat if you've seen that. Typically have 12 or more ingredients in curries and curry dishes, and some may have 26 or 30. So what we have here clearly in the East or in the West is a simple, relatively simple blend that we can work with. So we can get more complex. Is there a difference between garam masala and curry? It's a type. So masala means sauce. So I would think it would be it's a type of curry. Would be my answer. Does anybody want to suggest something different there? Okay. A possible substitute for milk would be yogurt, someone says. I was wondering about the fat-free evaporated milk or creamer. Yes, you can use that. Actually, some of the Indian curries, there's a restaurant style Indian curry that you're going to see that uses just a little bit of cream. And using coconut oil instead of coconut milk. You know, I might use coconut oil in the cooking of the spice in the beginning, the onions and things. So I don't know if I could. Has anyone else done that? Lily, are you Lily or Nelda? Were you weighing in on that? I just see hands up, so I'm not quite sure. No. Okay.
Deb, I did put something in the chat to respond to that. Coconut oil and coconut milk are two completely different consistencies, so I don't think you can substitute it. If you're going to use regular cream, though, it may, and I've never used coconut oil, so it may give some of that flavor that you're losing from not using coconut milk.
Yeah, the problem with using, if that's why you're doing it, the coconut oil has just as much, has fat in it, has the fat in it as well. So it's really just trading one for another. But I didn't quite know, Pat, why you were asking that particular question.
Well, the comment about not using the coconut milk, you can cut down and use like a 1/4 cup of coconut oil and then add on some other liquid if the milk part is the issue.
Okay, that's a thought. Yeah. I'm thinking about whether using the coconut oil in the to saute in the beginning would be of help. But I do want to mention this while we're on the subject of coconut oil. If you want to use a coconut oil to impart coconut flavor, you would want to get an unrefined coconut oil. Okay, I usually have that phone off. My apologies. Okay, let me take another look here, see what else is coming up in the chat. Okay. James has lots of information about curries from all over the place. India is the place to go for some of the world's most sublime curry. Yep, they're the founders, the originators. So now it's time. Let me look at my clock here. Yeah, it's good timing here. We're going to take a look at a little video. Now it's it's about 11 minutes long, but it is going to show you an Indian chef who is making a curry, a chicken curry, 3 different ways. He's going to make the basic curry, and then he's going to show you how he modifies it to make a restaurant style, and how he modifies it to make a fried style, and how he modifies it to make a South Indian version of the curry using all the same starting curry. And he's being very particular about how the ingredients are being cooked. So take a listen here this is the Chef Va Re Va.
Wait.
Everybody okay with that?
Hello. Namaste. Salam alaikum. Sat Sri Akal. Welcome back to another session with your washer. You know, we make so many varieties of chicken curries, but still a lot of people, especially non-Indians, are having tough time to get the ingredients or to get the nice flavor from the chicken curries. Dear friends, today the chicken curry I am going to show you is for the beginners and for the people who are new to Indian cuisine. You know, you can try this method and I'm telling you, you will have a fantastic chicken curry. You might have tried making chicken curry using the same ingredients, but still there is something missing. That is the proper step-by-step adding. So today I will explain you how to make a very simple chicken curry, and then how do you convert into South Indian, how do you convert that into restaurant, and how do you convert them into a fry? You know, you're going to learn 3-4 chicken preparation in one shot. So let's go ahead and learn how to make this simple chicken curry. Today we are not going to add any spices, anything. You know, we're going to make it very simple. For this, take some oil in a pan. You know, a lot of times we add, cardamom, cloves, coriander powder, cumin powder, everything. But today I'm going to teach you just using curry powder. In fact, there is a video of me making the curry powder, but a lot of non-Indians, they usually go and buy curry powder and make dishes with it, but still they don't get the flavor. But there is a way you can get proper taste. I'm going to teach you how. Now, watch carefully. All I'm doing is adding finely chopped onion into the oil. In this, add some salt so that it pulls out the moisture and this onion gets cooked faster. And for making this curry, you have to fry these onions till they are slightly golden. See, if you don't fry this onion till they are golden, your chicken will be totally different. The taste will be so different. So if you want to get a nice, tasty chicken curry, you have to fry this onion till they are nicely golden. Now, look at these onions. They are evenly colored and slightly brown, golden in color. You have to cook the onions till they come to this stage and add ginger garlic paste in this. If you don't have ginger garlic paste, you can grate some ginger and garlic and add to this. Wow, look at this. Ginger and garlic paste will give the nice flavors, what is a must for a lot of Indian preparations. And wow, even let this ginger garlic paste also slightly cook. Now, in this, add chopped tomatoes. Look at this, I also chopped these tomatoes very fine, because in a good chicken curry, very simple curry, you don't want to see the tomatoes when the dish is done. You want the tomatoes to be converted into gravy. If you want, you can also put a tomato in a blender and add that to this. That way it becomes much more easier. Now look at this. The onions also will be slowly disappearing and the tomatoes also will be slowly disappearing. I'm continuously mixing this and cooking so that these tomatoes will be nicely mashed up and the tomatoes and the onions will disappear and form into gravy. And now, while this is getting cooked, now you can add the curry powder. In fact, I've shown you guys how to make the curry powder, or else even if you buy the store-bought curry powder and not adding half a teaspoon, but I'm adding 2 tablespoons of curry powder, okay? Because this has all the ingredients that we need to make a good curry. And now mix along with this and also cook it on a medium flame. Do not put it on a high flame. Wow. This curry powder has turmeric, coriander powder, cumin, chili powder, everything. So it will come out nice. Do not worry. Wow. And keep cooking till the oil slightly comes out, because the curry powder is not fully cooked. It needs to be cooked a little bit, and this is the best time to cook on a slow flame, because we don't want it to be a normal curry. It is a simple method, but the method of cooking makes all the difference. Now, how much time do you cook the onions? How much time do you cook the tomatoes? When do you add the masala powders? When do you add the ginger garlic paste? Once you learn these things, I'm telling you, you can make the tastiest and the tastiest of the curries. Usually when you buy the masala, the gravy masala in the packets, they fill it with these masala, and because it's packed, it won't have the real punch of flavor. Just make it fresh like this. And now we're going to add the chicken pieces. This chicken has been soaked in brine, or else the chicken is nice and tender. So they will cook really fast. And now we are going to cook this chicken, and the chicken will ooze out a lot of moisture, and surprisingly, it will become into a very nice gravy. Just saute the chicken like this, and just do not add any water yet. Put the lid on and let it cook on a slow flame. After you saute it for a minute.
Okay, I'm going to just stop my share for a second, show you what's going on over here in the pan. I've been sauteing these onions for a while now. You might have noticed that, I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. You might have noticed that the chef put a lot of oil in his pan, but in his recipe in the notes below, it says 2 tablespoons. So I didn't go crazy with all that oil, and you don't need to either. And so the other thing that I did that he suggested was I took I took canned tomatoes. I made them with fresh the other day and I didn't blend them and they took a while to break down. So today I thought, well, I'm just going to grab a can of tomatoes out of my pantry and use those. I didn't have any good ripe tomatoes anyway. So, and what I had was fire roasted. So I'm going to give them a try just to see what the additional flavor might add to them. And that's going to allow my sauce to cook down a lot more rapidly. And the other thing that I did was cut this chicken up into bite-sized pieces, a little bit larger, and I brined it in salt water so that it would be very tender. And you might also consider using chicken thighs, boneless chicken thighs. They would stay very moist. So one of the things that people sometimes have a problem with is chicken that they feel is too dry in the curry. So brining helps, and then also using a dark meat like that. So at this point, what I'm going to do is try to catch up with him a little bit. So I'm going to add the tomatoes and just cook this for a couple of minutes. And while that's cooking until I get to the point of adding the curry powder, I just thought you might have questions or comments in the chat. Just talk for a couple of minutes before we go back to the video. So let me see. And you're asking, can we get a copy of his recipes? As a matter of fact, what I will do is send a link for the video. And if you click on the down arrow, you'll see his recipe. Now, here's the problem. And maybe what I'll do is translate this and type it into the notes anyway, because his translation into English is not what we're accustomed to. So a measurement for quantity, he might use N, or, it's not as exact perhaps as what we might like in a recipe. But I think watching the video and looking at what he has down there, you can pretty well figure out what's going on. So if you remember, he talked about ginger garlic paste. And I didn't have any ginger garlic paste, but I had ginger and I had garlic. So what I did was put the ginger and the garlic, relatively the same quantity, in a blender. This isn't perfect pasty like you squeeze out of the tube, but I put it in the blender with some water. And now that'll work just fine if I put it in my curry. But you can find the ginger curry paste at the grocery store. Sometimes they sell it combined, which is what I was looking for at the store the other day, but my store just had the separate pastes tubes and I didn't want to do that. So I just made my own. And then I measured out 2 tablespoons of this curry powder, which is fairly mild, actually. Okay. So as he said, you want this to, you saw how his was getting really kind of saucy. So I'll let that go a little bit longer. And we can go back to watching what he does now. Alan, did you have something that you wanted to say? I have a note in the chat. Alan, yeah, go ahead, unmute yourself.
It doesn't say how much onion or how much salt.
Yeah.
I'd like more specifics, like to make a meal for 2 people. He was sort of just putting everything together because he's so knowledgeable. But for me, I'd like to have something specific. So even if I change it, I have something basic to work for. I have no idea whether it was 1 onion, a big one, a small one, half an onion, stuff like that, like specifics.
For sure. Yes. In the notes, he has that. He has his recipe, but his recipe isn't all that clear. So I'm going to tweak that a little bit and send it to you. But just for today, for the conversation, it's using what he calls 2 medium-sized onions, is what it was. And the curry powder was 2 tablespoons. The tomato was 2 tomatoes. So I just used a can of tomatoes. And mine might taste a little more tomatoey, but I'm not really too worried about it because I think it'll be interesting. And I'm not sure. Yeah. It looks like his. It actually really looks good. So that's a great question. And that's some of the problem with getting these recipes down from somebody who's authentic, an authentic chef in this area, just understanding the measurements and so on. So I will send that to you. Thanks for that question, Alan. And should we go on? Any other questions? Okay, we will start the.
Just add some water and let this simmer, and you will get this awesome curry gravy, which is nice and thick. Wow, look at this, this is good. And let this chicken simmer in this curry for like around 10 minutes and you will have a nice chicken curry ready. After around 10 minutes, the basic simple chicken curry is all ready. Now, how do you convert this into different flavors, what you get in restaurants or whatever? So first we're going to convert this into the restaurant style of chicken curry. Especially not in India, but outside India, if they're serving you chicken curry, all they do is they make it something similar to like this curry, and they just add some cream to this. All they do is they add some cream to this, and that will give a nice creamy texture to your chicken curry. And in India, nobody does this, but when they do in the restaurants, they give you a nice creamy yellow chicken curry, and this is that chicken curry. Okay. Now on this, you can just sprinkle some chopped coriander and serve it. Now we're going to convert this chicken curry into kind of a fry. What we call Indian fry curries. For this, I've taken a little less of gravy, and all we're going to do is add some crushed peppercorn, chopped coriander, and even if it is South Indian style kind of fry, add some curry leaves to this. Okay, if you can get hold of, then just saute it till this gravy dries out. Look at this. In no time, if you're going to cook like this, this will nicely dry out and it will become kind of, a different dish. And also you can add some green chilies. This is going to get a little bit hot, but this is going to taste totally different, look totally different, and what these people, a lot of restaurants serve as chicken fry or this masala, chicken masala fry or whatever they call it. That is when they usually serve this chicken like this. Difference, isn't it very easy? The same basic chicken curry you can convert into this fry. This you can even call it, by adding a little bit of coarse pepper, you can call it chicken pepper fry. Now, you want to convert the same chicken curry into South Indian kind of chicken curry. In this, add some curry leaf, add some coconut milk, okay, and just let this cook till it becomes a nice thin gravy. If you need to add, you can also add some water. Just bring it to a boil and make sure you adjust the seasoning, and you will have a decent South Indian flavored chicken curry. And look at this awesome chicken curry. Now South Indian is all ready. If you want, you can also add a few drops of coconut oil to give a fantastic flavor. These are the general rules what people follow. And now I've got all these 3 chicken curries here, and let's see how different do they all taste. The restaurant style of chicken curry. Wow, nice, silky. And I'm telling you, anybody who is new to Indian cooking, they'll fall in love if you make it the restaurant style. And this fry method, I made it a little bit spicy. So this is a little bit hot for any first timers or people who eat less spicy. But this will be super if you are a spice lover. But look at the contrast. Both of them taste so much different. There is no comparison in the flavors. Just by drying it out a little bit, just by adding some pepper and curry leaves and green chili, it becomes so fantastic and different. And here is my South Indian with coconut milk and curry leaves. This is again so different. The flavors have changed completely by adding a little bit of coconut milk. Wow. This is something. Dear friends, all three of them taste so different. Even though we made it from one pot, made it almost similar. In the last week, we did a little bit of magic. Dear friends, cooking is so easy. Just understand the essence of ingredients and their flavors, and you will be able to convert any dish into the flavors you like or your guests like. I hope you enjoyed today's session of learning how to make the basic curry of chicken using curry powder and onion and tomato. Dear friends, but do not forget, Whatever is all about inspiring others to cook. So please post your recipes and cooking tips at whatever.com so others can benefit from your great cooking. Thank you.
Okay, so what do you think about those dishes? Alan, you're grinning.
I say
think
let's.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Deb. I was just going to say let's eat. It made me very hungry. It looked delicious.
Yeah, for sure. I think he was even feeling that that second dish was a little on the spicy side. What do you think? So I have a question in the chat that says, will the curry leaves get soft enough to eat, or will this be like a bay leaf? It's not quite like a bay leaf, and you can eat your, curry leaves, but I will learn from my experience. I hurriedly, because I was wanting to get this class together, went online because I didn't know where I could find curry leaves locally, went online and bought these curry leaves, and these are dry curry leaves. Then I did a little more research, and the people in the know say don't bother with dried curry leaves. I guess they're okay if you can't find anything else. So I did use them and they were okay. I could eat them, but you can also pick them out. And really, if you want, you can go and try to find fresh curry leaves. So what I learned from that is that if you find an ethnic grocer that is selling these foods catering to the Indian population, that you will be able to find these fresh. You may find them locally if you find that kind of a food store. And I did go looking then to see, I didn't know if I had any in my area, and I do, and I just didn't get out to see if they had any fresh curry leaves, but I planned it. It's on my list of to-dos. So they smell, I don't know what to say how they smell, but they do have a smell when they're dry, and they look like this. And I did make all but the second kind of curry because that doesn't hold a lot of interest for me, that really hot, spicy curry. And but I do want to fry some of it up. I think it would be very good with this batch. I'm going to take some of it and just fry it up until it's dry, just to see if I like that part of it. I might add a little black pepper to it, but I might leave the green chili out of it. So here's what's happening over here on the stove. I'm going to change my camera around, maybe so you can see a little better when I bring it over. Okay. And this is before any water's been added. So looks pretty much like what he had, doesn't it? And now I'm going to put that water in and make a nice gravy. And he said, then simmer it on the stove. Now he talked about simmering all of that. So I was trying to do what he suggested and simmer it. But honestly, I think the simmer on his stove is a lot higher than the simmer on my stove. So I've cranked up the temperature a little bit to get the heat going. And so now I'll turn it down a little and let that simmer. And I'm not sure that it's going to be finished by the time that we're done here, but you get the idea and how easy it was. And I could really measure those ingredients. I could prep the onion ahead of time. I had the onion prepped. I had the chicken prepped in cubes. And, you know, if you brine that even a few days in advance is okay. You could have a very fast meal, and you can modify it using your coconut milk. I should change the camera back now.
Yeah, if
Yes.
you don't have the few days or however long it takes to brine the chicken, you can also do what the Chinese call velvetize. And you can add cornstarch, a little soy sauce, pepper to it. And in the length of time that you're cutting up your onions and sauteing them until they're golden, that's all it takes for the velvetizing. And it holds in the moisture of the chicken.
Nice. And can you repeat that for us again there?
It's just a mixture. You sprinkle cornstarch on it with a, I don't measure anything, so I do a little swirl of soy sauce and pepper, and because the soy sauce has salt in it, I don't add salt. And just that combination of with the cornstarch, it holds the moisture of the chicken in.
Okay.
And it only takes about 20 minutes.
Okay. It would also thicken the sauce.
Yes, it does.
And honestly, if you don't need to brine, I don't want to leave the impression that you need to brine this for days. You can brine it in the beginning of your day, or even if you do it for an hour or so, especially if you cut it up into pieces, it helps. And if you don't even have time to brine it, it's okay, especially if you're using dark chicken. You wouldn't really need to do that. And honestly, I didn't do any of that the other day when I made it because I was in a hurry, and it was fine. But I think I would prefer to have the white part of the chicken be a little less dry than it was. It wasn't bad, but I've had it where it's fall apart soft. So that's what I would strive for.
Well, that's what Chinese restaurants do anyway. They velvetize. So if you've ever eaten chicken at a Chinese restaurant, it's got a different texture than cooking at home without doing that.
It really does. You're right. I'm glad to know that secret. So again, it's cornstarch and covered in cornstarch, and then tossed in a little bit of soy.
It's not even covered in it. You sprinkle like a tablespoon of cornstarch on the whole thing, and you just keep mixing it.
Okay.
And once you mix it in, it kind of covers everything, and then you just let it sit for about 20 minutes.
Okay, that's a great tip. We can use that for curry and also for any stir fries we're doing. Any kind of Chinese stir fry.
For any stir fries. And you can do it with chicken or beef or any meats, actually.
Okay, good tip. So other questions that you might have, or things you want to put in the chat there, or you can just talk. Let me see.
How much soy sauce?
Oh, how much soy sauce? So Pat, I think that question's directed to you. Is it just
like I said, I don't measure. So in my, let's say I have a bowl of cut meat and I sprinkle the cornstarch, and then I just take my soy sauce and I make a big ring in it. Just one pass around it, and that's usually enough.
Okay, thank you. So I'll show you where we stand now, and then we'll just wrap things up. Not quite finished cooking it, but it's getting there. Can you see it reasonably well? If I tip it over too much, I might have curry on my keyboard. So it smells delicious. I'm going to give it a quick taste, because I was practicing winging without measuring everything, just to see what would happen a little bit. It's delicious. And I can see where simmering it longer to mellow it is even going to make it better. So it's delicious. Now, the other thing that I'm reminded of here is that if you don't like too hot spicy, the ginger will also add heat and spice to this meal. So if you don't want it quite as spicy, you can try with a little less ginger. Okay. All right. I'm going back to share my screen back to my presentation here. Well, can you see my presentation? Can you see the, there we go. Okay. So what do you think? What would stop you from making curry at home at this point if you have avoided making it? Would you give it a try? Okay. Is it a little demystified at this point? Maybe a little bit more information? Okay. So we have, go ahead.
I said, I'm going to try it. And my husband loves hot. So, you know, I'll probably make some of that for him.
Awesome.
And make the other for me.
Deb, that's a very nice pan you're using. Is it Calphalon?
No, it is a nice pan, and it's interesting that you add that it is called it's rock. And you know, I looked at the bottom of it to remember. Now let's hope there's no accident here. Oh wait, I can't see. It's Starfrit, something like that, and I bought it at Costco because I did want one nonstick pan. Oh, wouldn't you know? Yeah, Starfrit.
Starfrit? Okay.
Yeah, it's some kind of a glassy nonstick thing on the bottom. It's different. It's not a Teflon.
But it's dark and it's nice and deep.
It is, and it's nonstick, and it is nice and deep, and that's exactly what I wanted just for this purpose, because I don't always use a wok anymore. So it would be good for that. So Costco had those, and it was nice. It was a pretty good deal, and it works really well for me.
Thank you.
10-inch or a 12-inch?
That's a 12-inch. All right. So, okay, one takeaway. So somebody just give me their most, do you have a burning takeaway from this class today? Anything that just excited you when you saw it?
Just encourage them to experiment and try it, because you won't know. And curry's a lovely addition.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. You're welcome. So my next class next week is on strawberries. I have a strawberry class. We're just going to talk all about strawberries. And then later in the day, we'll talk about cream and blended soups. I have some recipes to share there. And as well, we have I have a do-it-yourself spice blend class coming up that doesn't cover every spice blend in the world, but a few of them. And some make-ahead mixes, easy meals for one or two, is a member of our community, Leslie. Leslie's here today, right? Leslie, is that you? So Leslie has been helping us. Pardon me?
I am here.
Okay, so Leslie did a class for us yesterday, and tomorrow or next time she's going to come back and tell us more about make-ahead mixes and easy meals for one. And you should hear Leslie talk about her kitchen and what she cooks with, or cooks without, I should say. Very fascinating. And if she can do what she can do in her kitchen, we can do anything. So anyway, I invite you to come back for that. And I will be sending out the information with the YouTube video and the recipe, and you'll get some suggestions for other classes. When you get the email, you can go right into the schedule from here. But before you do that, please give feedback on the session. That would be very helpful. Go ahead into the schedule. I wanted to just show you that over the weekend. Could you mute yourself there if you're not muted? So Scott has classes.
Could you mute yourself there?
So Scott has some classes over the weekend if you're looking for something to do. He's our photography guy, and he's doing one on making a personalized Father's Day gift. And we've also got some other classes on optimal eye health tomorrow. So Ravina's teaching that. You can just check out what's going on and see if there's something that is interesting to you if it's raining where you live.
Deb, is the cream and blended soup, is that one of the ones you've already done?
Yes, I've done that one. Yes.
Well, so will you be presenting something different, or is it the same ones?
No, that's the same class, but what will be coming up different in the summer will be one on chilled soups. So that'll be new.
Thank you.
Okay. So don't forget, when you sign up for a class, invite a friend. You can do that from everywhere that you go. And it would be lovely to have more folks here. And if you have an organization in your hometown, like the Y or a senior center, something like that, we'd love to know and get in touch with them. All you have to do is let us know. And also, if you'd like to host an interest group, we're all up for that. And Leslie can attest to being a co-host with me, so we have fun. If you have an area that you would like to explore together with me, we can do that in a forum like this, and I'd be happy to carry the Zoom part of it. So thank you very much for coming today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend.
Same to you. Deb, if I did the chowder and I was going to send you a picture, how do I send that to you?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that, because I didn't mention that in this. Deb, okay, I'm going to put that in the chat. I meant to put it in my slide. So this is for all of you. My email address is deb-the-guide at getsetup.io. And Juana is doing something that I've asked in other classes. Send me pictures, send me recipes, send me ideas. That's the way that we change things here and respond to what you're interested in. Thanks, Juana, for doing that.
Oh, the chowder was unbelievable. I love it. I'm going to make the curry tonight.
All right, awesome. Which chowder did you make?
The cauliflower, and I added corn.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Well, that's a good advertisement for the chowder class. All right.
Definitely.
See you all later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care, Alan. Thanks for coming. Bye, Sandra.
Bye-bye.
Mhm. Make that curry now. Oh, I see your picture in the background there, Alan. Little Indian. You like Indian? Yep. Yes, that's what I'm looking at.
Hi, Deb. I'm going to try it your way.
You are? Okay. Which way is that, though? What do you mean?
Well, by brining.
Oh, by brining. Try it that way.
And I've never added tomatoes, but everything else I do the same way, but I never added the tomatoes. But at the time you added the tomatoes, that's when I would throw in my root vegetables.
Okay, well, that would be delicious. Yeah.
So that's where I got my moisture from.
Uh-huh. I bet that's really very good. Root vegetables in there. Interesting. And then do you use a curry powder like this?
I do.
Uh-huh. Yum.
Like I said, I like the Madras, but I've been experimenting combining that type of curry powder with other spices to get that same effect. But
I think it's fun to experiment that way. And I'm going to be looking for more opportunities to experiment. And I'd like to find somebody who is perhaps an Indian cookbook writer, author, or somebody that would share really deep experience with us at some point. So if anybody knows of anyone who's written a book, that would be very cool. We're trying to connect with those folks. So good luck with that, Pat. I hope you enjoy it.
thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Tony.
There's a book called House of India Cookbook.
House
has
of India.
House of India Cookbook that has a good recipe for chicken curry soup.
Ah, okay. I'm going to write that down, Alan. Thank you. Now to write it down somewhere where I don't lose it is the thing. I'm going to write it right on my recipe for right now. All right. What is there an author?
Yeah, Syed, S-Y-E-D. First name, last name, Abdullah.
Okay.
Abdullah. It's an old book. It's when is it from? It's quite old. It's from 1966. It's published by Follett Publishing.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that.
Sure.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm going to get on the stick here and get the email out to everybody. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. It was
Have a great
great.
weekend. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.